Nigeria is stepping into the courtyard of famine. There is every indication that Nigerians will soon fall victims to an unintended consequence of what some people probably think is a game, and it is not. What they see as political wheeling and dealing is on the verge of starting the series of events that will leave Nigerians in the grip of such hunger and desperation as had never been known in the land. It is with this sense of alarm that we are calling attention to the security breaches and killings going on in the country, particularly the northwest part of the country. We should have ordinarily specifically mentioned Zamfara State, where so-called bandits have been wasting human lives with incessant killings. But efforts by the federal government to curtail them have seen these contracted killers fanning out into Sokoto and Katsina states. The potentials are there for them to move further into Kebbi, Kano, and just any other state where the alleged sponsors direct them to go. This relocation of the killers has been confirmed by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai. Our concern is that the Northwest and the other parts of Nigeria are strategic remnant of food production access that have not been destabilized by political jobbers that are deploying terrorism to extract political and economic advantage. Food supply from the Northeast had earlier been reduced by Boko Haram terrorists, who happen to have political backers and sponsors. Food production in the North Central Trial has been hampered by killer militias, killer herdsmen, and ethno-sectarian violence. If these killings should disrupt rice production, especially in Kebbi State, then we are in for a tough time, because we know how much rice from this place means to Lagos State and the rest of Nigeria. If the crisis impacts tomatoes production, not only will we have to face the crisis of paying so much for so little, we will also face the ugly prospect of job losses in companies that rely on tomatoes from these areas for their production. If these killings persist in Nigeria, the entire country faces the prospect of food shortages that will result in increased food price. It is doubtful that Nigerians can absorb the resulting price shock given the ongoing economic restructuring. Such potential hike in food prices has been known to have caused upheavals in many countries of the world. It is an outcome we must avoid at all costs. If we allow things to get out of hand and to get to that stage, no part of Nigeria would be spared. At this point, we would like to remind Nigerians that the sponsorship of Boko Haram by some politicians in the time past was initially dismissed as a conspiracy theory. But that was until key commanders of the terror groups were being arrested in the homes of the same politicians and being linked to important members of the political class. We also want to remind you that those empowered by these politicians later became estranged from those that commissioned them as assassins of political opponents. Today, Boko Haram is not only a Nigerian plague, but it is an international plague. They no longer respond even to those that allegedly first brought them together. It is on this note that we call on President Muhammad Buhari to take decisive actions against the alleged masterminders of politically motivated banditry, kidnapping, and the killings, wanton killings, going on in Zamfara State and other parts of the country. These alleged sponsors of the atrocities may be serving and former political office holders in Zamfara State and in the country, to the extent that they threaten the peace of Nigeria. The whole gamut of the applicable laws should be thrown against them. Thank you.